you believe that the envelope is a bribe. Do you agree? Tama po bang sabihin, ma'am, na yun pong regular monthly envelope which you later on found out contains 50,000 per envelope ay nag-umpisa lamang nung kayo na-appoint as head of procuring entity?
As far as I'm still keeping those envelopes, so I would like to say yes.
Yes, because it is very clear from your affidavit, no? This envelope started in February and ended in September of 2023. And earlier you said kayo po'y na-appoint bilang Hope noong February 2023. And prior to that, since your appointment in August 15, 2022, wala kayong nare-recall regular envelope which you were receiving from ASEC Sunshine. Can you please enlighten us? What is with Hope? Bakit doon lang po nag-umpisa itong envelope na ito upon your appointment as head of procuring entity?
It's a very difficult task, especially for someone who has not tried to be one before. Parang it's an area that I really evaded all my entire government life. But I needed, there's just too many already pending procurement at that time. So when I was asked if I could be designated as the Hope, I first referred them to other people who are seasoned in procurement, like Sina Yusek Rebsi, but Yusek Rebsi was already too preoccupied with operations. So I finally accepted the position, and it was difficult because I had to study the procurement law, and I was given I had a lawyer and someone who's already a retiree to review the documents with me when we signed the contracts. And I had commitment from when I accepted the post, I made it a family decision, you know. Like among the execom, I asked our legal before, Yusek Brady and ASIC Amanda Nograles, that everything that I signed has to be thoroughly reviewed by legal. And so I had that commitment of support from everyone in the execom, and so I accepted the post.
In brief, ma'am, can you please enlighten us? Why do you say na mahirap, difficult ang position ng Hope?
Because you have to you have to look through all the documents, and it's like
Which documents, ma'am?
everything that goes through the bidding process. I am not part of the bidding process itself, but on the time that I was appointed, I was the one tasked to form the structure of who's chair for BAC 1, BAC 2. So I spoke to all the people which I know I will have comfort to chair specific committees at specific BAC. But the process of bidding, I'm not part of it because you have to maintain you have to make sure that you're not enmeshed with the process itself, but you're just reviewing to make sure that the vice president secretary is protected with everything that I signed, because it's a delegated function. She's supposed to be the Hope.
In other words, ma'am, you're the person who check all the documents coming from BAC before the vice president signs or approves.
No, I signed. Because
you sign for the...
I have to sign because I'm the one, the Hope signs. It's delegated to me already.
And you will agree with me if I would say na you consider it difficult because it concerns matter about procurement and bidding.
Yes.
Where there are a lot of issues surrounding, sometimes
and it's just
issues about
many.
bribery and corruption. You agree with me?
Yes,
And what do you think is the reason kung bakit yung envelope nag-start lang during your appointment as Hope? Bakit po walang envelope nung HR pa lang kayo? Tapos biglang nagka-envelope nung naging Hope kayo?
I think it's like an allowance maybe for an extra work, because sometimes I have to stay until midnight to look at the documents when sometimes I have
If
one.
that is just an allowance, ma'am, then the rest of the officials of the Dep-Ed should be receiving also their respective envelopes. Do you think so? Don't you think so, ma'am? If that is just an allowance, then the rest of the officers of Dep-Ed should have their own envelopes as well.
Mr. Chair, that's precisely the reason why I did not open any of it. Because
I understand.
that was very uncomfortable on my
I understand. And that leads me to the next question, ma'am. Why were you so uncomfortable with the envelope when you believe that that is just an allowance?
part. Because, Ma'am, I'm 40 years, Mr. Chair, I'm 40 years in government. The only time I have an ombudsman case is when I advised my principal not to sign an importation, when I was the Deputy Cabinet Secretary, and I advised my principal not to sign an importation because there was no rice crisis. That's my only ombudsman. I have to protect that name. Self-made po kami. I come from Samar. I was a scholar since I was grade 1 until I took my PhD. So I have all reasons to protect my name, Your Honor. And I'm in the home stretch of my career. And then I'm being thrown into that position, which I have no control because I'm only studying it. So that's my...
Ma'am, I wish to remind you of the terminologies which you mentioned already. With all due respect po sa inyo, no? Because I want to elicit this information from you. Kanina po sabi nyo, the position, the job of hope is very difficult. Do you confirm?
Yes.
Yes. And you did not open the envelope because you feel so uncomfortable. Do you confirm?
Yes.
And then recently you made mention na it was only once that I had this case with the ombudsman. Do you confirm?
Yes, ma'am.
And you also made mention that you wish to protect yourself. Do you confirm?
Yes.
And the
Mr.
reason,
Chair.
ma'am, is because you believe that that envelope is a bribe. Do you agree with me? Because otherwise, you will not appreciate the job as difficult. You will not uncomfortable opening what you believe is allowance. You will not be thinking about the ombudsman case. You will not be thinking about protecting yourself. The reason why you are considering all these concerns is because you believe that the envelope is a bribe. Do you agree? Yes or no, ma'am?
It's kind of harsh word to use, bribe, because if
Or should I say, it is a means to influence your decision being the hope?
It could be.
You said yes to that? You said it could be.
Could be.
I wish to manifest, Mr. Chair, that on the story, on the narration of the resource speaker about this envelope, she received and she refused to open until the same is donated from February 2023 to September 2023 is a means actually to influence the decision of our resource speaker being the one who approved all the decision of the BAC in behalf of the Dep-Ed Secretary. Tama po ba, ma'am?
There was only one instance that I could recall na but there was no one spoke to me about there was an instance where I tried to let a bidding lapse, but I ended up signing it because there was a protest. I'm not comfortable discussing it.
But I wish to state for the record, Mr. Chair, that with the narration of our resource speaker, she earlier manifested that she believes that those envelopes are means to influence her decision as hope. Ma'am, I wish to invite your attention to paragraph 6. You mentioned in this paragraph that a certain Attorney Reynold Monsayak suggested in the presence of 3 Dep-Ed officials na pag-usapan na lang ang 2022 budget para hindi masayang. However, you firmly asserted that the procurement must be implemented and conducted in strict adherence with the rules. Do you confirm this?
Yes.
Can you please enlighten us? Sino po yung ibang Dep-Ed officials present during this incident?
Actually, it was 1 director and 2 consultants.
Can you please state the names?
The director was Director Resty Osias, and the consultants was Juna Soriano and Ferdinand. Ferdinand. Forgot the family name.
Where did this meeting happen, ma'am? Kanino
was-
pong opisina nangyari to?
It was not in Dep-Ed. I was having lunch. There was a training ongoing in one hotel. I don't recall anymore whether it's Linden or Discovery Suites, but it's just in Ortigas area. And I was having lunch with these people, and we were discussing a project. And then that's when I was approached.
Does that project have something to do with the 2022 continuing
no,
fund?
it was different.
It was different.
Yeah.
But that lunch was shared with these 3 other Dep-Ed officials along with Attorney Monsayak.
No, Attorney Monsayak was not part of the lunch. I think he probably came out from the training, and then that's when he joined us.
He joined you, and then to whom did he direct what he said na pag-usapan na lang natin yung 2022 para hindi masayang? Kanino po ba niya sinasabi ito? Sa inyo o doon sa 3 Dep-Ed officials pa?
It could be to me and the director, because Director Resty was also a member of the BAC.
How about the 2 others? Are they members of the BAC also?
No, they're not, because the consultants we were discussing a Dep-Ed Guru program. It's an app that we were discussing.
And can you enlighten us? Ano po bang naging reaksyon nung kasama nating director? Her name is Director
Osias.
Osias.
Well, I think his reaction was that parang, ba't niya sinabi yun, we're not, may other people there.
I see.
Parang ganon.
Because those 2 other consultants are not part of
Yes.
the BAC.
Yes.
And did she accede to what Attorney Monsayak said?
No. He's a very strict director as far as procurement.
She did
is-
not accede.
He.
Did not accede.
Yes.
And kayo po, you asserted that the procurement must be implemented and conducted in accordance with the law. You said that.
Yes po.
And Attorney Monsayak heard that.
Yes po.
And after this incident, ma'am, what happened?
I left na. I left already.
You left. But you recall that after some time, kayo po ay kinausap na ni Miss Sulaika, ni Attorney Lopez, the Chief of Staff of Vice President Sara. Please enlighten us. What happened during that conversation?
Parang a day, mga afternoon, I got a text. When I got the text, it was a familiar text because these were the same texts that is sent to those who are asked to leave as well. So when I saw it, I prepared what I should tell them and tell her. And I prepared that I'm not resigning, but I'm retiring because I'm already at age level where I could retire properly. And so when I went there, I knew what the issue would be, because the kind of text that I received was the same text that was received by Chris Arnoco, Chris Arnoco, And the
Who is
others,
Chris Arnolfo, ma'am?
he's an ASEC also that was asked to resign.
He was asked to resign for what reason, if you're aware?
No, I'm not aware.
You are not aware.
I just get to know being an HR, and then I was their nanay-nanayan in Dep-Ed. So I get to be their sounding board and their apprehensions because they're young people, their career. So yun yung situation. And so when I arrive at the OBP's office in Mandaluyong, sinabi na there's this issue of a teacher that is in my office and some other issues. So kinat ko na lang si Yusek Sulaika, sabi ko, in my 40 years in government, I knew that I work on trust. So if the principal doesn't trust me anymore, then you don't have to find reason for me to go. So I'm ready to resign, to retire. Here are the things that I need to do for retirement. I need to say goodbye properly to the institution that I serve well.
For the record, ma'am, did you resign or did you retire?
I'm being asked to resign. I did not. I retired. I
You
applied
retired.
for retirement.
So when did you retire?
Effective November 1.
So that is 1 month
No.
from the supposed date when
they
you're
don't
supposed to
li-
retire?
They don't like 1 month. I was actually trying to ask for December 30, but they wanted it on that day that they spoke to me.
This is 4th week of October when Attorney
I
Zulueta
think third.
talked to you.
I'm not very sure anymore.
3rd week of October. They want you to resign on that date?
On that very day.
On that very date. But you said,
I'm not going to resign because I have to honor my 40 years in government, you know. What would I do after resigning?
and how did you feel when on the
Oh.
3rd week of October you're being asked to resign?
I was so devastated because I couldn't find a reason why I will have to go, you know.
What were you thinking during that time? Can you please share with us your thoughts? Ano pong iniisip nyo during the time when after 40 years of being in Dep-Ed, dedicating all your life and career in Dep-Ed, suddenly there is Attorney Zulueta asking you to resign right then and there?
I was very sad. But it wasn't a surprise, Mr. Chair, because there were 6 people before me that went through that process. So I wasn't surprised. So what I did the night before when I got the text, I already prepared myself. But I'm human and I worked very well for the past year. So I was really very devastated with what they did to me. And that's also the reason why I refused initially to face this panel, because I said I'm so wounded as a bureaucrat. So baka So I just didn't. Siguro what was hurting is that when I left, they were trying to. Marami kasing press that was running after me and asking why I left. So my children and I flew to Guam for 3 days just to evade the press, which nandun na rin sila sa gate namin sa village. And I think what was hurting is that they were trying to justify my departure by saying that I was favoring certain suppliers, which I told
You don't believe that.
I told my kids.
You reject that.
I told my kids I left Dep-Ed with my pride intact and with integrity because I have not favored any. I don't even speak to suppliers. If there are petitions or things that has to be settled at Hope level, I go at the middle of Dep-Ed where it's seen by everyone, and that's where I speak to the suppliers.
Last question, ma'am. Sasang-ayon po ba kayo if I would say na yung pagtanggi nyo kay Attorney Reynald Monsayak na pag-usapan na lang yung 2022 continuing fund ang dahilan kung bakit kayo pinagre-resign ni Attorney Zulueta?
That's very speculative, ma'am.
From your point of view, ma'am, it can be right, it can be wrong, but from your point of view,
It could be.
it could be the reason. Dahil tumanggi kayo na pag-usapan ang 2022 Continuing Fund, posible na ito ang dahilan kung bakit kayo pinag-resign ni Attorney Zulueta. Thank you, ma'am. I submit, Mr. Chair.